Okay, I'm going to show you how to do the TypeMaster challenge for this tutorial. So you're going to want to open the TypeMaster challenge document in Illustrator and zoom in, and we'll start at level 1 and then work our way all the way up till level 11. Now Illustrator, hopefully you have a bit of knowledge about it, but there are two different kind of mouse tools. There's the selection tool, which is the darker arrow, and then the white arrow is the direct selection tool. I will kind of explain the difference of those a little bit later. I use Illustrator. I like the Adobe Suite on a Mac, so mine may look a little bit different than yours, but essentially it's the same. I have several sort of menus over here to the right of my screen, which is where I will access quite a bit of information. You can find those in the window file, and you can select different windows to be saved. So we're going to start. I'm going to select my selection mouse. I'm going to get rid of this because we don't need that for this tutorial. So kerning is the space between letters, and so in order to adjust the kerning, if you double click on the letters, kind of triple click, it will highlight all of them, and you can go to type. Again, I have the type menu. It's actually the character menu. I believe if you go to window and type and then character, it will pop up the appropriate menu, but you can see this V/A. If I place just my mouse between, you can adjust kerning between just two specific letters, or you can do the whole word. So if I place it between two letters, you can see here it's at -75. So I can change that to 0, and it will adjust the kerning. I should be able to also highlight the whole word, type 0 in there, and then it will adjust my kerning to match, to all be consistent. Now you can drag this box up, and you can see it kind of matches up with the other one if you just want to verify that you did it right. Leading is the space between lines of text. So you can see there's a nice little space here, and on these they're sort of running into each other. Now all of these tools may be used at some point to create creative or interesting logos, text, etc. So this is just a tutorial to show you how to adjust these things. Again, you're going to go back to that character menu, and right here you can see the kind of A over A sets the leading. So typically we want the leading to be around where our font is. 80, I believe, is what the font is set at, but it's a little bit bigger than the leading set in the example. So I'm actually just going to drop it down. You can take this and just pop it right there, and then keep adjusting the leading until you find it to be relatively similar, and then bring it back down. You can see when I move the text, these lovely pink lines appear on the screen. As soon as I let go, it will make them go away, so I can't really point, but it helps to sort of align things. This has a lot going on, so there's a lot of alignments, but I like to use those to help me align my text or objects. It applies also in using InDesign. Okay, next we're going to look at the tracking, which is, it's like leading, however it applies to the whole word. So if we click, we can see the tracking is set. It's the VA here. Again, also if you hover over these tools, it will tell you. So here's the kerning, here's tracking, here's leading, here's font size. So tracking, again, we could just change that to 0, and it will space them out. Don't worry that the text is bold. It's fine. Just make your spacing even. You could also make it a little bit wider if you want to. You can play around with it however you want. Okay, align, this should be pretty easy. This is in paragraph, so again, you can go to Window, Type, and then the Paragraph menu. And basically we're just going to switch the alignment, so that's these little dashed lines, and I'm going to slide it over so it doesn't intersect with that other text. If you hold the Shift key down while you're sliding, it will keep it aligned to that area. See how it kind of snaps to that? So that's align. Justified. So a lot of times in like newsprint, text will be justified, meaning both ends of the text sort of come to the edge. So it fixes the kerning of the line, sort of the space between the words, though not the characters. So it's not technically kerning, but it fixes the spacing between the words in order to make both ends touch, sort of look uniform instead of the jagged edge. And that we have a few options here. We have justify all lines, justify with right align, justify with center, or justify with left align. And this one is left aligned. You can see the example, so we're going to do that. You can see it just sort of spaced out my text there. Looks a little bit nicer. Now this one, we didn't create this document. This was from a tutorial online, and this one doesn't technically have a widow, but let's just say hypothetically this word were down in the line below. Essentially you would just want to adjust your text so that you don't end up with a single word at the bottom. So again, there's really no adjustment for you to make here, just that is to know. You also want to prefer to not have like one line of text on a page by itself. So a lot of times documents will automatically adjust that for you, but you may want to adjust your paragraph so that a few lines, like at least 3 to 4 lines of text appear, at least 2, but I like a few more, appear on the page so that it's not by itself. Level 7, you can see the punctuation marks, the quotation marks are outside the text so that the text feels more aligned. So here we're going to stay on the paragraph tool. We're going to click the hamburger menu. If you ever hear somebody call out a hamburger menu, it's these 3 lines. Kind of looks like a hamburger if you think about it. And then you're going to click Roman hanging punctuation. And you can see how it adjusted that quotation mark to go outside of the line of text. It just looks a little bit nicer. Area type. Now here we're going to go back up to our menu, and underneath this T, if you right click, there is an area type tool. So you're going to click that, and you can just click on the path and it will create type within this area. Now for whatever reason, the kerning or the leading and the kerning are kind of messed up. So I'm going to go ahead and reset those. I'm going to change the leading back to 12 so it matches the font size, and then I'm going to change my tracking to 0. Okay, now if you want to fill the remainder of this circle with text, if you just right click and you go fill with placeholder text, it will fill it in. Again, it is a little slightly different than what this is. And this is called lorem ipsum, which is just placeholder text. So if you're working on a document, a resume, whatever, and you don't know what you want to type yet, but you want to sort of lay out your project and see what the text looks like, you can use lorem ipsum as placeholder text. Okay, we're going to create outlines. So again, you're going to want to be careful that you don't select the text like this. Because if you highlight it like this and then you go to type and create outlines, it is grayed out. I can't do it. So I'm going to just make sure the box is selected like that. I'm going to go up to type, and then I'm going to select create outlines. Now, Illustrator is a vector program. So these images are such that you can zoom in and zoom in and zoom in, and the lines never become blurred. So it doesn't use pixels. So that's really handy. But now once we have created outlines, we can't like scale this text at all. It is what it is. It's sort of they become shapes individually versus text. So you just kind of have to be aware of that. I'm going to show you also how to drag the text over here to create this unique look. So I'm going to zoom in, and you can see if I just try to, well, okay, that worked. In the past, when I've just tried to grab the anchor, it would just move the whole word. So you want to be careful, pay attention so that you're only grabbing the anchor. See, there, that's what it did. You want to click off of it, and then when the anchor turns white, you know you've got the correct piece. And again, you're going to want to use the pink line, the line extension there, to make sure that you're not going all wonky. But that's how you can create those unique looking text areas. The other thing, if you click in here, you can see these circles. You can round the edges pretty easily that way. And just another little tidbit. You can click off, and then you can click back on, and it will turn the anchor points white, which is when you can actually move them individually. So again, oh, and the other thing I forgot to mention is I'm using the direct selection tool. If I stay on the select tool, I do not get the anchor points. You have to use the direct selection tool, which is when you'll get, let's see how it changed all of those. You can get the individual anchor points for each path. So if you want to, for some reason, make like the leg of the A shorter, it's up to you. You can play around with it. Okay, let's see what's next. Warp type. Okay, so I'm going back to the selection tool, away from the direct selection tool, and I'm going to go to Object, and then I'm coming down to Envelope, Distort, and then Make with Warp. And I believe the default is arc, and it ends up being something like this. So it looks a little crazy. You have lots of different options. You can play around with these. I would suggest playing with them, see what you like. This specifically, we were looking for the flag, and then you're going to want to change your bend so it looks a little bit more like this. If you're not seeing the changes you made right away, make sure you have this preview box checked so you can see your changes. Again, you can change like so only warps part, like one side of the horizontal more than the other. There's a lot of options here, so you can definitely play around and do some fun things. Now we have our final challenge. We need to hide the doors first. In order to hide, you're going to select them. You're going to go Control or Command 3, and that will hide them. If you want to unhide, Control or Command Option or Alt and 3. Okay? If you're on a Mac, it's Command Option or Command 3. If you're on a PC, it's Control 3. Oh, I don't want to save. Next is type along a circle. So we're going to go back to our T here, and we are going to go to Type on a Path tool. It kind of matters where you click here. It can be a little tricky. I'm going to actually click right in the middle, and I'm going to, I honestly can never get it to go where I want, so I usually end up just rotating the circle. But I was going to see if I click in the middle and then I center it. That kind of works. So now I can rotate my circle and get the top. One thing when you're typing, you want to open, I would open this Type on a Path options and click preview so that you can see what you're doing. So align to path, if I go center, it's going to align it in the center, which I think this one is actually, well, I'm not sure which this one is, but you can play around with it. Baseline is at the top, spacing auto, you can play around with that as well, and then we're going to come back here. I have to click OK to get rid of that. And I'm actually just going to Control C, Control V, actually no, I'm going to Control C and then I'm going to paste in place. So it just duplicated what I did, so now I can rotate this. I can hold Shift down and rotate this circle, and now I have text at the bottom. So now I'm going to go and kind of click on the text. Come on. Edit it. There we go. Okay. And I'm going to say can be a bit tricky. And I want to go back to type on a path to options, and I'm going to click this lovely, I don't know why preview doesn't stay checked on this one. I'm going to click flip. See? And it pops up into the middle. So yeah, you know what? This one, they are on the same one, so I could align this to a center, or I could change this one to center, and I could change this one to center. Yeah, I didn't have preview checked. And then I'm just going to, if I want to make it look a little bit similar to that other one, I'm just going to change my font size. 20. I think it should be a little closer. There's this myriad doesn't have a bold, so I can't bold this text, but that's that. And then you're going to want to follow the directions on the assignment to submit. Enjoy.